Consistency. Griggs, from your perspective, obviously not a great result for us, sitting on 7 points mid-table. What's your current outlook on it overall?
I mean, it was a good performance. I can't say it was a bad performance because for the first 60 minutes, we were the better team by far. And I am starting to get a little bit worried about the attack in terms of converting chances. I think we have the most big chances missed in the Premier League now. I think we're like at 21.
17.
17. Oh, I think we've maybe had like 21 and we scored 17. We've missed 17 of the 21 or something like that. That's not good. That is a concern. And I'm not going to blame Ten Hag for that because he's not on the pitch. He's not the one that's going to be put the ball in the back of the net. That's on his players to do that. So it was good. I do agree with Staffy because me and him always talk about his watch long. The build up, I understand it's fluid, but sometimes there's too much fluidity. You can have too much fluidity. Sometimes you do need a little bit of repetition just to have like players constantly like in rhythm and stuff like that. And I do think I understand what you're trying to do with the inverting the fullback stuff, but sometimes our fullbacks are too inverting. Sometimes we're too narrow, and then players like Ahmad, who today needed the overlap and underlap from Mazraoui a lot more times that he got it because, like Staffy mentioned, Ahmad got doubled. Teams are starting to clock on that Ahmad is kind of becoming the creative hub of United because the ball's going to him, especially because Rashford wasn't on the other side. No disrespect to Garnacho, but he's not feared by opposition as much as a Marcus Rashford is.
Well, it should have been today because he was good.
It was good, and Garnacho fed off Ahmad being kind of the main focus of the defense because
he left all the space over there. That's why he had those two chances
behind, and that's meant to be his role. He's meant to be the runner because he's got good movement and he's got good poaching instincts. We saw it against Barnsley, even though it's just Barnsley and stuff like that, but he has that in him. And obviously, I thought the first miss with his left foot, it is what it is. It's your weak foot. I'm not going to get too mad at you. And the strike that he had to hit the post, that's the best I've ever seen Garnacho strike a ball in my life. I've been critical of his ball striking plenty of times. He hit that really well. That's just unlucky. Bruno's miss, as for Bruno, I'm not going to lie. I don't think he's been good at all this season. I don't think he's had a single good performance. Today was the worst of the worst. He was actually good. He was better in the tight spaces today. He wasn't really losing the ball and stuff like that. But every single pass that he made that was longer than a 5-yard distance, other than the one cross that he put in, was absolutely diabolical. And after those substitutions got made, once you got Xerxes and Ahmad off the pitch and all the creativity burden went on him, he went back to prototype, and that was hoofball. And it wasn't working. And that's why I'm critical of Ten Hag. The best managers are able to read the game, not just before the game when you select your lineup and you make the right lineup that you think can exploit your opposition. It's also during the game, how you read it, and are you going to make the right changes. United were in complete control of that game. And when you take off Xerxes for a Rashford at the 9, who's not typically good at the 9, I don't care what he did against Barnsley. That team is in League 2 or League 1. They're not good. This is Crystal Palace. You're going from NPC center backs to now a Mark Guehi, who's one of the better center backs in the Premier League. Chris Richards, who's had a good season. Rashford's not going to be playing the same level. Why didn't you bring him on the left? I'm not saying you got to take off Garnacho. You go Garnacho on the right. But you keep Xerxes on because even if he looks like he's off the pace and stuff like that, just his presence as the focal point of the attack is much better than, no offense to Rasmus Højlund, than he is. Because Rasmus Højlund, half the time today he came on the pitch, was chasing his own touch. And I would have been fine with Højlund coming on the pitch. But I think Ten Hag's going to try this eventually. Put Xerxes in the 10. Take Bruno off. He's your worst performer.
No, I agree.
I don't care if he's your captain.
Yep. Rasmus Højlund isn't a hold-up player who's going to hold the ball up brilliantly, bring everybody. That's not his game. He's off the shoulder. And this is the one thing I would say about so many of our players in the last, not just under Ten Hag, 11 years. It's the misprofiling is the new phrase for it, but it's playing people in roles. It's like with Rashford. We know he's good on that wing. But I think what you said earlier, Deb, was spot on, or maybe Greg said it as well. In that last 10, 15 minutes, I'm sitting there and going, right, Rashford's got the ball. He needs someone to overlap, or at least underlap. But Deloa's on the inside in the midfield. I'm thinking, well, no disrespect to Rashford, he's good. But most players aren't dribbling past 3 players out there by themselves. And those are the areas where I do think we need to be critical of the manager in terms of just make those types of changes. However, at the same time, if we'd have finished our dinner earlier on in the game, it would have all been an elementary conversation because we'd have been 3-0 up, 4-0 up, maybe 4-1. By the way, I do think that Elise missed towards the end. If you actually watch it again, Onana got down. Eze. I think Onana would have saved it, actually. I don't know. But I do get it.
Look, I've got a question for you.
Go on.
About Bruno Fernandes. I know you're a big fan. And what would it take for you to say bench Bruno?
What it would take for me, I think I'm never, you know me, I'm not, I said it to Staffy yesterday on Straight Facts. We had this conversation. I don't care about benching him or not. I just want to see it work. So if we say we take him off out the team, and I don't care, just forget how we play, who and why we play. Let's say 2 or 3 games go by and we're no better in any way, shape, or form. Then it's just a case of, well, nothing's quite working. I just want it to work. I don't just want to sacrifice him because he's not been good for the opening part of the season, because he can click into gear. But I do agree, he wasn't particularly great today. The second opportunity that he had outside of his foot, I kind of get why he had to go the outside of his foot, but he still should be hitting the target from there for me. But I really want to see Xerxes and Rasmus start together. I just want to see what that looks like as an example. But today was a coke. Again, what I would have done, I would have brought Ugarte on today, but it would have been for Bruno, and I'd have put Eriksson further up, who was absolutely brilliant on the ball. So we do have options. And I saw Scott Sanderson tweet this earlier, and he sort of mentioned the performance being good, but said with this squad and how strong it is, we've got to start picking up results. And I do also agree with that element. And I think it's such a multifaceted conversation about us at the moment. On some other positives, though, before we go to the super chats, I just want to say about Mazwari, what a signing he has been so far. Absolutely defensively brilliant, positionally great, and on the ball, I'm getting to a point now where even when he's in tight spaces, I almost stop watching him and I look for who he's going to get I look for who he's going to pass to. It's so refreshing compared to what we had with AWB. I will say, on a positive, absolutely blown away by how good he is.
Really quick before you go to the super chat, sorry, because we brought up Eze again, and I know I came at Staffy hard, but I want to back up my points versus just saying them out loud. Eze is tied for 3rd for big chances missed in the league, but guess who he's tied with? Alejandro Garnacho. Washington Jersey. So it's like he hasn't been that guy. He's been missing big chances, but the guys
that for me, when you're balanced though, and I think most of us on here are, even though we have differences of opinions, when you're balanced, you sort of look at it, and that's where the performances being more like they were today is important. But equally, there comes a point where I think consistent performances make it easier to judge players. Because say we keep playing like this and Garnacho just keeps missing and Xerxes keeps missing and Bruno keeps playing like this, it makes the debate around where we need to invest so much easier. When the performances are up and down, even for us as fans talking about it, you go, we need a goal scorer. Yeah, but we don't control this and we don't do none of this and we can't hold on possession and we can't. There could be a case that the recruitment team sit there going, well, what do we actually need? Because it's a mess. If you're consistent in your performance, it's much easier to spot the players that have got to go and the players that have got to come in. And I think that for me, that's why I want to see more of that.
Like AWB had to go, because I remember when he was rumored to leave and Mazwari was the guy getting linked to us to come in. And the biggest thing was, I know he's good on the ball, but can he do what AWB does? AWB's defensive ability is so unique. His 1v1 defending is so rare to find.
Yeah, and how much defending have we had to do since we kept the ball?
We need to keep him, or we shouldn't let him go or we shouldn't get signed Mazwari because of those things. And the fact that we picked him up for £12 million or something crazy like that, the way that he's on the ball is phenomenal. His defensive ability is underrated. Some of his tackles that he did today were in between players, they were from behind players, not committing fouls. Listen, I know AWB loves to slide tackle and that, but at the end of the day, we need to evolve as a team. And what I'm seeing in this backline is confidence, is trust.
Can I throw a quick? Sorry. Sorry, I apologize.
When we had Maguire, when there's Lindelof, when there's AWB, you could tell everyone was shaking in their boots. If I give it to my man, where will it go next? If I give it to him, will he get tackled on the half turn? Will he get pressed? Will he put it into the wrong areas? Whereas in this back line, communication, trust, technical ability. Listen, we've looked, in terms of our back line defending, we've looked the best that we've been in a long time. And before it used to be just Martinez and Varane. Now the whole back four is looking good. And big up to Delo as well.
I don't want to say Mo thinks he's mid, by the way.
Please let me just throw this. Guys, let me throw this question.
He's still mid, yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about Mo being that. I've got a question.
Okay.
When Luke Shaw is fit and back, do you put Delo back on the right and drop Masrawari, or do you put Delo on the bench?
No. You do it neither.
Luke Shaw holds
bench. Hold bench, bro.
I love Luke Shaw. Hold bench. Like I like Luke Shaw.
By the way, first of all, as good as Masrawari has been, Dalo has been better.
No, that's what's the big.
Can I rephrase that question then? Because everyone, can I rephrase Terry's question a little bit? come January, you buy a competent left back who starts on the right back. That's how you phrase the question.
Oh, okay, that's a different one. I think you
Dallo.
start Dallo. I think you start Dallo
Dallo.
because it's been consistently for the last.
Hey!
I don't know.
Mo's asking me to pick between
When I
both
say-
of my
when I say-
sons.
I get you. I think both are great. What I will say, if I'm picking based on performances this season, in that first 35 minutes against Southampton, Dalot was
That's
getting
true.
torn a new one. So if we're basing it purely on performance so far for United, I'd go with Maswari. But I'm very impressed with him. Again, I don't care what he did for the Netherlands. I thought De Ligt had another very good game today. Was unlucky not even the save. If you actually watch the save from Henderson as well, it is a save officially, but it just hit his leg and it just happened to go past the post. Could have gone in. He was. So yeah, I'm really, really, really happy with his
I think De
performance.
Ligt is gonna score like about five headers a season.
He's gonna be what Maguire was meant to be on.
Thank you, Griggs.
But Maguire can't attack a ball correctly.
Yeah, Maguire doesn't have the leap. That leap that he had, bro. If this was NBA, he'd be destroying that rim. He'd be dunking that shit.
Do you know what I want to
Like,
say?
that was crazy, that leap that he had.
There is this like people try and lamp them together, and I'm not too sure. I think it's because they both got quite big craniums and they're about the same height. And they're white, right? I think that's like the, and we do that sometimes in sport, and it's a bit icky, really. Like it could be a completely different profile, but he was born in the same town as George Best. I used to know George Best. Doesn't play like George Best though. So Harry's a new fucking George Best just because they both got black hair and got an Irish accent. But the one thing De Ligt has that Maguire doesn't is De Ligt has genuine athleticism. He's got a decent sprint. He's got much more speed. And he can jump because he's got athleticism. Maguire is just proper clunky, and that don't help him. But yeah, I've been really impressed with those two. And I want to shout out Mainu as well, because I thought he grew into the game very well today. And there's one little touch and flick he did. I don't know how he did it. I'd have broken my leg trying. Where he jumped in the air, reversed his leg, and I just went, yeah, you're special when you do that.